welcome to Reality Hour. I am Adam Samuel. Today, we have a bit of a big treat today. We have a special guest joining us for a special episode. It is the winner of American Idol Season 14. Nick Fradiani is joining us. How you doing today, Nick?
I'm doing great. Happy to be talking to you guys, man. This is cool.
This is really, really exciting. This is our first time ever having a winner on the show, and this all kind of came together thanks to my co-host Eric. How you doing today, Eric?
I'm doing great. This is awesome. I tweeted this earlier, but basically, this show wouldn't have existed if Adam and I weren't grieving over your crazy elimination on America's Got Talent and subsequent ride to win American Idol. So
I didn't know that until you told me that at the Virginia show. I didn't know that you guys. I remembered that you guys followed the AGT thing too, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It
was that was a rough year. That was a rough. I mean,
they screwed up, but it's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, watch this. Hold on. Hey, Zip. Didn't they screw up when they cut us from American Got? Absolutely. Look, say hi. Hold on. We have a Beach Avenue member here.
Oh. Hi.
Hi, guys.
We were huge fans of yours on AGT.
They had to put them on another show because they screwed up. So
yeah, they really screwed up.
You have no idea. Yeah, so. Nice to meet you guys. Enjoy.
Nice to meet you too.
Everyone. We're actually we're shooting a Christmas video tonight after the interview. So Ryan's gonna be he's a great videographer as well. So he's gonna be shooting the video.
Fantastic. That's cool. Yeah. So speaking of Beach Avenue, like on AGT, Coming Your Way was the first audition. Adam and I were blown away by how good that song was. Adam said like he plays at parties and stuff when he was in college and stuff.
Yep.
But on Wikipedia it says it sold like 50,000 copies after the audition. Is that true?
Yeah, I think it might have sold better than like besides Beautiful Life. I mean, it might even have done better than that. I mean, it sold a lot in those first the first couple of days. It was pretty wild.
That's fantastic.
We charted on iTunes for a couple of days, and it was cool because we were unsigned, so we got we were, for a band of our size at the time, it was really huge for us in terms of financially and like just able to keep recording after that. It was definitely a big deal for us. So even though it was a bummer that we got cut, we had already known that we were cut by the time Coming Your Way came out on on television. So we knew we were done. But like the fact that we saw it go so well, and we could see on social media compared to people that we knew went through, we were like, oh wow, so this is pretty cool that we know that it was that people were into it. So it all worked out. You know what I mean?
Yes,
I'm glad that it played out the way that it did.
That was that's awesome, and it's good that at least something good came of the show. The first one. Yeah. And
as Eric kind of said, I want to just reiterate for people who might not be familiar. Eric and I started talking about these shows kind of based on watching watching that season, and when Beach Avenue was cut, that was kind of the big draw that kind of brought us to kind of talking about it. And in a way, it was kind of a little bit the birth of what eventually led to this podcast. So kind of having you here is a bit of a full circle experience.
That's super full. That's really cool. I'm glad that I'm glad you guys supported the band, because that's kind of where I started, and I still love that band and I love that music. And so yeah, we were shocked actually that we got cut. We didn't think we were going to, I'll be honest, but and we still sometimes will like try to like talk about like wonder why we did, and we sometimes we think it's probably because we refused to play cover music.
That's it.
From the beginning, and they wanted us to on the second episode particularly. We just really stuck to our guns, and I think what was funny was I was the one that was really adamant on the guys to do cover songs, because I had a feeling that was going to happen. But they were right, because the way that the reaction to Coming Your Way was, I don't think we would have gotten that if we did an original song. If we did a cover song. But I think we were going to eventually do covers, like if they let us go through. But the way it all played out, again, like I said, it was how it was supposed to be. But I think that's really why I think we just are being so adamant on not doing what they said is kind of what sent us home.
Yeah. the song "Coming Your Way," when I heard it, I was in college at the time, and I actually would play it at parties, and people would ask me. Then I would be so excited. It was kind of a big thing, and it was just such a shock that you didn't even make it to the live shows, because some of the people who did make it through that season, very questionable. But I actually just rewatched your segments, all of them, just before we went live, and I I didn't like when Howie kind of talked to you in that way about original music. It was just so, it shows a bit of a changing of the times, because nowadays on reality shows, kind of the original music is celebrated, and back then it kind of wasn't yet at that point, and
Right.
it's kind of a bit of a shift. But you were kind of one of those first people that kind of brought original music to the scene, and I maintain to this day that "Coming Your Way" might be one of my favorite original songs to kind of come from reality TV of the many seasons that I've seen.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're I've always said that's I think one of the best songs that I've ever, been able to be a part of. And but I understand why reality shows can't overdo the original music, because everybody that comes out there and is performing is a songwriter, and some are better than others. And, at the same time, they're trying to keep viewers to watch their show, and some of the songs just aren't as good, and obviously nobody knows them. So I get why they can't have it on all the time, but they should know when there's something good there, and maybe that's the act. Maybe that's this is a good original band, and that's their thing. Just like there could be, whatever, a dancer that does this or a magician that does this. That's, if that's our thing, they should have just let us roll that way. But either way, it was still definitely a memorable and cool experience. I didn't like, they did switch up some of the stuff, like on the last episode. What was funny was, like, they made me look really uncertain in the editing process during the time we got cut, where they're like, "How do you think you did?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I look all like kind of like unsure of myself. But actually, what they had asked me was, "Which song do you think is better, Coming Your Way or Feel the Beat?" And I said, "I don't know." And then they used that when they asked how I think I did. So they totally manipulated, what. But we knew that they could do that. I knew that that happens all the time. But that always annoyed me, because my dad called me the next day. He's like, "How come you told them you were unsure? That was a great performance." I was like, "I didn't say that." I was like, they switched it up. I was like, "I didn't say that."
I still bought it. I listened to both of them. Like they were those two songs were kind of big parts of my college years, and
That's cool, man.
And when you were cut, it was such a shock then about a year ago. Not a year ago, a few years after that, we saw your name popped up on American Idol, and
same year.
It was the same. Oh,
yeah.
Literally a month later, Adam.
It was later on. It was later on in that year. Yeah, it was really soon after, which was pretty wild.
How did that kind of happen? Because we saw you on America's Got Talent. Where did you kind of end up on American Idol the same year? What was that kind of like?
So basically we got cut from AGT, and I basically was like, I'm done with that. I won't ever do that again. Like, let's kind of settle and start recording more. Like, we got a little bit of a fan base now. And then long story short, I was dating a girl that was a singer, and this guy that was one of the producers on AGT was posting on Facebook saying, "I'm looking for I forgot the age range he said, or girl singers, whatever. I'm working for American Idol. If you know anybody, hit me up." And I was friends with him on Facebook, so I said, "Yo, my girl works for is a cover band singer," and I gave him her information and a video, and that got her a Skype audition for American Idol. And then she asked me to go to her house during her Skype audition to play guitar for her. And there was a bunch of producers there, and he was there, the guy that I had messaged, and he said, "Nick plays too. He was on America's Got Talent. Like, Nick, play them a song if you don't mind." So I just played a song. Then we got an email the next day saying, "We'd like you both to audition." And that was really it. And I definitely said no multiple times. And then it was my mother that really was like, "You got to do this. Like, it's your last shot at this." And because I was 28, and that was the cutoff. And I just said, all right, why not? I figured I was going to get cut within a couple weeks or something. And I really did. I didn't think it would go that far. And not that I thought I would I just didn't think ever like I'd win. I figured maybe I'd be on it for a little while and it could help the band. Maybe I could promote the band. That's what I was thinking. And then it went obviously all the way to the end. So it's kind of crazy how one little thing, like one little, I'll message this person. I'll try to get brownie points with the girl I was dating at the time. And then it turns into kind of a life-changing event. So it was pretty wild.
It's really weird that like you and David Cook actually have the similar story. Of neither of you were intending on auditioning for the show, and then both of you kind of, as David.
Oh, I didn't know that he also wasn't intending to do it.
No, he apparently was very similar story. Did not intend on doing it. Was going with a friend or something as moral support, and then they turned the camera on him. Very similar story.
That's
but
awesome.
It's so funny that and like I saw you did a show with him in Nashville and Chris as well. That was pretty cool to see. Like, so you keep in touch with people from not just your season and other seasons too.
Yeah, I mean, David Cook and Chris Allen have the same booking agency out of Nashville. So the three of us have stayed in touch. Actually, Chris wasn't at that show. It was actually me, David Cook.
Oh, it was Trent
Harmon.
Right.
Yeah, so Trent. I've written with Trent and I've hung with Trent a bunch in Nashville. So he came and did a song, which was super cool. David and Chris are great guys.
Yeah.
So I try to keep in touch with as many, people as I can from the show, because it is a cool thing. We'll always have, even if we have nothing else in common but the show, there's that, and it's a big thing for us. Even if it's only a year of your life or 9 months, whatever, it's definitely something that changes you. And we've all kind of gone through it, and there's, especially like me, David, Chris, Trent, like we're not the Carrie Underwoods of the show. Some of them, Chris and David had some enormous songs and sold hundreds of thousands of records. So, but what I'm saying is, we've all gone through ups and downs in our career, and it's cool to talk to people that have gone through similar things. And so, yeah, we'll always kind of have a bond in that way.
Okay.
I kind of want to ask, do you still watch American Idol or America's Got Talent? Do you kind of keep up with either of them?
Yeah, I haven't watched America's Got Talent. Zippy watches America's Got Talent. He thinks it's actually really good, and I'm sure it is. He thinks that they've done a really good job, especially with like just kind of the way it looks and everything. Idol, I've watched every season since I've been off it. I've noticed that the last year when Lane won, I really only watched mostly online. I would watch just watch the performances. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I always love the show. Now that it's like for me, I just like have to see who's gonna win, and I like to follow, the winner and especially like I follow Maddie's ear a lot. So yeah, I do watch it. I watch it as much as I can, and I'll always love the show.
Okay, so
what do you guys think of the show the last couple years?
You want to go, Eric? Or should I? I guess I will.
Adam's a little bit more positive on it than I've been.
So when you were on one of the last seasons, Nick, where the seasons were they were much longer. We kind of got to see a progression of, it wasn't these monster cuts where people get sent home in droves. It was one a week. And I feel like contestants were kind of able to more form their own identity and kind of have a growth over the course of the season. And I feel now the show does so much cutting that it doesn't allow that growth, and kind of contestants maybe are a little scared to kind of do something different, because there is that fear that if you do something different, it's just, you're gonna be sent home.
Could be your week to be sent home. Yeah.
So I think your season was maybe the last peak Idol that we got, because you and Jax are still to this day two of my all-time favorite contestants ever on the show. Are you still in touch with Jax since the season?
Yeah, we haven't stayed as in touch as much as I would have thought, but we always cheer for each other. She's out in LA. She's actually been doing great as a writer. So I know she got a big publishing deal, and she's writing for all different types of people. I know one of her songs, like Paris Hilton, just cut, and like she's doing really well. She's on a big time publishing company. So. But I think she's going to be putting out her own stuff soon as well. I think she got a deal through Sony or Sony Red or something, or I can't remember what, but she's doing really well. I stay in touch with Clark quite a bit. He just got engaged, which is pretty awesome.
Congratulations.
And I think he's putting out a record soon. I know he's going out on tour, but me and him stay in touch. Me and Rayvon stay in touch. And I wish we would all see each other more, but it's hard, we're all over the place and everybody's trying to do their own thing, but we all have love for each other. There's no question about that.
Your season was so good. It was so
it
great.
does. It's funny how you said that because I didn't really realize that. I think it was the last time that it went as long as it did.
It was.
Yeah, and we, I mean, if it probably the way I went, if it had done what it does now, I probably would have got cut because I didn't have my real growth towards the end. So I'm definitely happy that it went that way. And I also loved our judges because they had been together for so long at that time that I thought they were like at their peak too. During my season, like they were just so good and they had great chemistry and they just like all like kind of, I don't know. I just thought it was a special year. I mean, I know it obviously, feels that way for me because I was involved and know all the people, but I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it too because we had a great time that season.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, so before we run out of time, I do want to ask you a couple questions about the music that you're doing now.
I got 5 more. We got 5 more minutes. So
all right.
Good.
Fantastic. But I still, you talked about it all in previous interviews, so I want to focus on like what's coming next and what you've been doing lately. So according to my Apple Music Year in Review, my favorite song you've put out since Idol was Empire, actually.
Nice.
Number 3 on my list for the year, actually, it seems like.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Quite a different sound to most of your previous music. So how'd you arrive at that one?
That one, I was upstairs in my bedroom of this house right up here, and I was playing these like the intro to that song that or actually the verse chords. And I'm like not like a fantastic guitar player, so I don't even know what I was playing at the time. I didn't know really what the progression was, but it sounded cool, and I started mumbling those what would become the melody to Empire. And then I sent that to Nick and my buddy Eric, and I send them a lot of songs and a lot of ideas, and sometimes they will write back in like a couple hours, sometimes they won't write back for a couple days. This time they both messaged me back in like 20 minutes, maybe less. I think Nick was like 5 minutes, and they both loved it, and I was getting ideas. We were sending ideas back and forth, and then I think it was Eric that sent me back kind of the chorus idea, and we just kind of rolled with it from there, and the 3 of us wrote it really quickly, and it just had that like anthemic type of a vibe to it right from the start. So I just wanted to be as big as possible, and that's kind of why the vibe is a little different than I was doing in the past, but I kind of always just go for whatever the song I feel like the song lends itself to. So that's what we went for, and I'm glad you guys liked it. I actually heard it. One of my friends was messing with me at the gym today and put on my music through the gym loudspeakers, and Empire came on. So it sounded pretty sick in the gym. I was like, oh man, that was good. Yeah. So I'm glad you guys dig it.
And so your next single is "Don't You Remember," according to what you said at the concert. Is that still the case?
I think. Well, it's between "Don't You Remember" and the song called "Angels" that I wrote. There's a couple songs right now that I'm going back and forth on. And I can't really put anything out in December, and even the beginning of January is a bit weird to put music out. It's just like kind of a tough time in terms of like people are just listening to Christmas music and all that stuff. So I'm hoping maybe mid-January for the next one. But it's either "Don't You Remember" or "Angels." They're both ballads, so so we'll see. But I love both. I love both of those tunes.
And you're starring in A Bronx Tale, the touring production. So how are you enjoying that? And do you see yourself doing more like Broadway musicals type things in the future? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I love it. I mean, I love the character. I love my cast and the story that we're telling every night. And I mean, so far I've done it for about almost 2 months, and I hope I don't get sick of it. It doesn't seem like I'm gonna, because right now it's been good, but we got a long way to go. I mean, I start back up January 7th, and we go till middle of May. So we got a lot. I got a lot of Bronx Tailing to do, but overall, I love it. I mean, in terms of like what I'll do in the future with it, I really don't know. I guess it depends on the opportunity and what the musical will be. I think like this one, for instance, like I always loved this movie, and I knew the character so well that it was like a no-brainer for me to give it a shot. And I think that would be like the only way I would do it is if I was like really into, that musical. So we'll see. It's been a lot of fun, and it's allowed me to keep recording, and have, a different thing to add to my resume. I think it helps. So
We don't have that much time left, so we did just have some quick rapid fire questions to kind of wrap this up. So Eric, you want to go first with yours?
Okay, so I did solicit some questions on Twitter, and one of them I got was from Eileen, who asked about a baby squirrel story.
Okay. Yep. I posted a picture. One of my neighbors found a baby squirrel, and I should have kept the squirrel, but instead I called some woman that was apparently like a squirrel whisperer, and she saved squirrels. And she did save the squirrel, but I think I could have saved the squirrel too, and now I wanted it as a pet, and instead I gave it to this lady. So that's the squirrel story. Her name was August.
Okay.
You can go to my Instagram. 2 weeks ago, I posted a picture of her. So that's her.
That's fantastic.
I guess my question is, as a winner, what do you kind of think future contestants who might maybe watch this interview, what do you think they should know about the Idol experience, kind of going into it?
Oh wow. Be prepared for your life to change, for sure. If you're on it long enough, your life is going to change. And to just stay grounded. I mean, I think a lot of times people get a little freaked out when it's all over with. It's a bit of a crazy drop off for a lot of people, like you're in this, you got people doing everything for you. You're on national television, and then it's over and it's just done, unless you get some juice behind you and you got things going on, it could be really difficult. So just kind of stay level headed and know that this is just a small journey for you. But at the same time, you got to try to capitalize on it as well. So just to stay grounded and know that it's music and it's what you love to do. So you just got to keep rolling with it and keep working.
All right, Eric has one last question.
So the last question basically is favorite performance you gave on Idol, and which one do you feel was most underrated?
Okay. Favorite, it's a tie between What Hurts the Most and Bright Lights. Underrated. I wish they showed my whole Hollywood Week performance of Babylon. I think I did a really good job on that, but they only gave me like a little part of it. It was like the part I didn't even like the most. So I wish that got more time. I think that one was really good. My dad was there for that one, and he thought that was one of my better ones. Underrated. That's a tough one. I'll tell you my worst one. How about that? My worst one was when we did In Your Eyes Coming Back. I thought I was going to get cut after that. When you had to do, like, repeat your...
I liked that one.
No, I was so pitchy. Oh, I was so pitchy. And then I also thought I did a bad job on the Kelly Clarkson song. I don't think I did. I thought I could have done better on that one.
My favorite was American Girl. I love that one.
Oh, yeah.
The energy.
I loved American Girl. American Girl was a great one. That was like, oh, and I also liked when I did underrated Because the Night by Springsteen. I thought that one would have been the pick for me. Yeah.
For underrated at least.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. There you go. That's my pick for the underrated.
All right. Well, we don't have that much time for this interview, but I do just want to say to Nick, thank you so much for joining us. This is, like I said, this was a full circle kind of experience for us in the podcast, and it's just so exciting to kind of get to talk to you here. And thank you also to Eric, who kind of took the reins and set this all up on his own. So thank you, both of you, so much for this all.
Yeah, man, this is great. Eric, Adam, thank you guys. You guys do a great job, but we all read we were reading a bunch of your stuff on MJ's, and you guys do a great job, and it's cool to see people staying involved in the shows, and it means a lot. So thank you guys for the support over the years, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
We want to wish you continued success moving forward. I think you've got it all. You're already doing everything you need to do. So I'm looking forward to, I can only speak for myself, but I'm looking forward to everything you've got coming up. I'm sure Eric does too. Yeah. And thanks so much.
Thanks for coming on the show. And obviously follow Nick on Twitter. Go to a show if he's coming near you. It's worth it. He's awesome live. So
thank you guys so much.
Where can we find you on Twitter? Just really quickly.
Everything is Nick Fradiani. I think that's all my socials. Yeah. So if you can figure out how to spell my name, you'll find me.
That's great to hear.
I am Adam Soapbox at Adam Soapbox, and Eric, where can we find you?
Eric_Ascher on Twitter and ericascher.com.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Like I said, thank you once again to Nick. This was
awesome.
Historic podcast. Thank you so much to our viewers for watching, and we hope we'll see you again in another podcast. Until then, bye.
Later, guys.